Welcome back, everyone, to the final day of WCS Challenger. After 3 days of non-stop StarCraft talk, we almost know all the players that will advance into Premier League. You've joined me on the, I won't say on the couch, but that's Homestead style. On the
Someday
desk
maybe.
One day we have our own crib, and then we just sit on the couch together. We'll cast
WCS.
WCS season,
everything.
Season like 29 of StarCraft 8. When Todd and me are old men, we have a little wiggle chair, you know. It's going to be a PvP next, our second series of the day. And it's going to be a cool one. Of course, one of the players that made a big wave in WCS Premier League Season 2 is the German Protoss, Kung Fu Panda. He's going to go up against a newer, younger, and better version of Le Tut. He's called DNS. He's French, he's young, and he's Protoss. That's pretty much all I know, Todd. What do you know?
He's actually... Do you know other French Protosses? Like there is one called Neo Angel, and he was on AA as well. I feel like he has to some extent a similar style to this guy, where as in, you know, a lot of the time he plays fairly passive, but I feel like these days he kind of took his skill to the next level, so he's definitely playing a little bit more aggressive. But most upon the time, I feel like DNS is definitely was that guy, you know, to just kind of sit back. And actually during the rise of Lilbo, in which he was doing very well in the French tournaments, he had one loss against DNS that happened pretty deep in, I think it was Underdogs, the tournament by OGaming, pretty much the French championship tournament. And in that...
The French EPS, that's what it is.
Pretty much, yeah. The French version of the Meisterschaft. And back then it was some very passive games in which in late game DNS went for Tempest and Lilbo just stayed on Colossus and kind of died. So I think his late game, or like if the game, you know, goes expansion against expansion, he's going to be really, really strong. But against somebody like Kung Fu Panda, who's shown in the past against Naniwa, that's early game is really strong, he adjusts very well, it's going to be really tough to get there.
But I actually feel that Kung Fu Panda has very solid late game PvP as well. I've been impressed by it, because we remember Season 2, of course, where he was in that crazy group with Elfie and Haas, and I felt every game that went past the 20-minute mark, Kung Fu Panda just took control of it, man. Like, he always had good splits. I think he has very smart army movement. Of course, PvP is very different than PvZ and others. It's sometimes not as explosive, but there's a lot of beauty in the matchup. And Le Tut and me, I'm going to try to bring you guys this beauty. I'm going to let the players know that we are ready and wish them all the best. You know, the other day I was streaming a little bit of StarCraft Dot, and Kung Fu Panda was actually in my chat. And, you know, I had a long game. And it was like some 35-minute PvP, and then in the end I won because I had a good engagement. And then he said like, Roddy, not bad. Almost as good as my late game. You know, so he was kind of teasing me a little. Yeah. But he was like, yeah, there's some good splits. But I really believe in the late game of Kung Fu Panda. And if you say that DNS has very solid late game, then we're actually potentially in for a treat. And this could be a very cool best of 5.
We just jinxed it, you realize that.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 gates, in-base like proxy, cannon rush, like, oh god, what have we done? PvP in all its glory, it's coming to us.
It's going to be cool to see these two face off. Germany is competing with France for most players in Premier League, man. And now it's Germany against France, so very important match for both countries, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we are loaded in. The first map is going to be played on Terraform. Is it going to be Germany or is it going to be France? That will have one more player in Premier League. On the right bottom side of Terraform, we have the Challenger, an absolute newcomer to, you know, WCS and the real pro scene. It is DNS. If you play a lot of ladder on Europe, you've probably run into him more than once. Playing for, is he actually still on Against All Authority?
Yeah.
Man, that is a French team that's been around since forever. Yeah. They had a Warcraft 3 team, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did, yeah.
And with Wolf. Woody. Over here on the left top side. Not the StarCraft 2 Wolf, just to make sure there's no confusion. There was a French Wolf once upon a time. Over here on the left top side of the map, we have the German Protoss. It's Kung Fu Panda. Had a great showing in WCS Premier League. But the thing that I think was most memorable, Todd, were not the games, was not his 2-0 victory over 4GG, but was the interview where he said, I don't need the money. What a guy. He's playing for $15,000. He's like, well, you know, I actually have no pressure because I don't need the money. It's like, you know, I should send him a DM. It's like, hey, buddy, if you don't need it, like, there's a caster over here who was really...
he was honest, though. You know, a lot of players, they only see, you know, the victory and all the hard work that they put in. They don't really look at the money. Like, once the tournament's over, I guess then you can look at it. But
no, of course.
I think it's a good mindset to have, to be honest.
No, I think it's very important to care a lot about, you know, the prestige and just the competition and doing well. Because I think when I played Warcraft 3, I mean, I didn't really have to think about the money because I didn't really win a whole lot. But for me, it was always much more about the honor and stuff as well.
How much did you make in that one tournament you won Euro Cup?
It was 2.5. 100,000.
But
I know, yeah, big payday. But like, so there's a difference between money not being your biggest motivation or saying you don't need it. You know, like
Yeah.
that is a big difference. Either way, let's take a look at these opening build orders over here a little bit. As the Cybercore went down, as everything is very standard. Everything went down in the main base. That is the most important thing.
yeah, so far nothing special from either player.
2 passing ships in the night, Todd.
Oh God,
You
here
missed
we go
it.
again.
This was your moment.
We've heard it enough, I think.
That's
for
what
a
I
lifetime.
That's what I said yesterday, and then you
Yeah.
said no, it's never enough. We have to
Yeah.
do it once a cast.
You know what?
That's why I just got it out of the way.
Only a stubborn or an idiot doesn't change his opinions. So I'm gonna change my opinion here.
All right. So Terraform is, of course, one of the newer maps in the map pool. I think this is a very solid map for PvP. I think most Protoss players that feel confident in this matchup, that don't like to gamble or take crazy risks, they will enjoy playing on Terraform. It's a pretty straightforward map. It's a reasonable map for Blink Stalkers. Some would even say it's pretty damn good because, you know, you can hop from here to here into the main base. It's also a map where Stargates are popular, and so no surprise that we see 1 Stargate go down in the right bottom side of the map, and we see 1 Twilight. What do you think is going to be the follow-up for DNS? It will most likely be an Oracle into maybe quick Twilight as well?
Yeah, usually you almost always see Blink behind this with triple gateway, but if he wants to try something a little bit crazier, and it's kind of sure that Kung Fu Panda is gonna go for the quick Twilight and Blink himself, you can just go for that quick Robo behind it and then just play, you know, Expansion, Immortals and all that. Already 3 German players qualified for Premier League, by the way. Only 2 French players. Now we have Kung Fu Panda against DNS.
Wow.
And later on, Firecake will play. So there is a chance here that we're going to see 4 either German or maybe 4 Frenchies.
Man, DNS plays crazy over here on Terraform, Todd. This is like the type of playstyle that whenever I face it, I get really mad because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. How can you do this? He scouted,
Yeah.
went for an Oracle, just dropped the Nexus immediately. And it is a pretty cool play because there are not too many builds out there that will super hard counter this. Now, if Gung Fu Banda would have opened up with a Phoenix and 2 more gateways, then I think DNS is super dead. You know, you can just leave this game. But since it's a Twilight opening, DNS is going to follow this up with a Robo as well. This could get interesting.
Yeah, but if you're DNS, obviously, you know, he's done his homework. He's watched a lot of games of Kung Fu Panda. Maybe he picked up on the fact that Kung Fu Panda loves to open with Twilight and Blink, in which case, if you think there's an 80% chance your opponent's going to go for Blink, you can just try this kind of build here, where you open Oracle, behind this you go for a quick Robo, you pump out some Immortals, and then you just have to defend, and then you win. But look at this, Kung Fu Panda with the Stargate himself to go for some Oracle harassment. He drops the Nexus. You're not really supposed to do this. The last time I saw somebody do this, I think it was like MC, who instead of committing to the aggression, was doing a very few Stalkers harassment, and then an Oracle. He didn't do enough. He fell behind, and then he lost.
Oh, the Mothership Core is a little bit out of position for Gung Fu Banda. He already lost 5 workers, so that's a lot. 6, 7. Wow, why was that Mothership Core so far out of position? Did he use F2 or something? Oh my god, he didn't even kill the Oracle. He lost 6 workers in a 1-base scenario, and he did not kill the Oracle.
Yeah, this is not looking very good right now for Kung Fu Panda. He's going to need a good recovery. He's going to need to do some damage himself, but I don't think he's going to be
Able to.
really achieving any.
Wow, I cannot believe.
That Oracle from Kung Fu Panda that's being made right now has a huge responsibility, Roddy.
He has some work cut out for him, and he knows that there was another Oracle on the other side of the map that killed 6 workers. He wants to do that. DNS revealing his Oracle there. Tanks 1 shot, so no shield regeneration for a couple seconds. That's a little bit frustrating. The thing is, like Gung Fu Panda, he has that Nexus, like you said. You're not really supposed to do that, because normally the idea is you get one
he's going to
Oracle.
spot the Oracle? That's huge, actually, because there was no photon overcharge available for DNS for his main behind this. He can even get a Phoenix, to be honest. If he gets a Phoenix, he shuts this down really hard.
I would get a Phoenix, absolutely agree. Instead of getting a couple Stalkers in your main base. He's going to try again with his Oracle as well. Both Oracles harassing at the same time right now. Gung Fu Banda gets 2 workers. Let's see what DNS is able to do. Well, not really anything. He didn't activate Pulsar Beam just yet.
But you know what? 25 probes to 25 probes, though. So Kung Fu Banda, now having the expansion, can play a little bit more passive. And Chrono Boost out his own probes. He's quite a bit behind in army, though.
Yeah, exactly.
If DNS was to move across the map, actually, that'd be really scary.
Once again, this Oracle finds a weak spot, gets 2 workers, 3 workers, and it's not going to live this time. I think it would have been better to sacrifice it there and get 2 more
that was
kills.
actually a very important photon of a charge. Like I said, if DNS moves across the map now and goes for the fights, he might be able to do really well.
Look at this Oracle from Kung Fu Panda. There are 3 Stalkers there. Todd. 3 Stalkers in position, and he still kills 5 workers. Oracles are so ridiculously good against workers. Sometimes it
In
makes me,
PvP, yeah.
sometimes it makes me very upset.
Against Spore, Queens, Turrets, Widow Mines.
They're
Not
so
nearly
good.
as good.
PvP is very deadly. DNS is marching across the map, and I really like the point that you
He's
mentioned.
gonna go.
Because his army is so strong. He's going to find the Stargate. That's very nice. He doesn't have to worry about Oracles
And I
anymore.
really like the decision of getting a Forge as well with this, because he can get cannons, he's middle line to be safe, he can start a +1, and he has a lot. 36 army supply to 21.
How do you feel about one more Oracle right now from DNS? I think it would be quite smart. Not
I guess he wants to focus on the winning on the ground. What's the energy on the Mothership Core of Kung Fu Panda? He's quite far.
70?
Yeah, he's
78.
far away. Oh my god! Like, there's without photon overcharge here, it comes down to the sentries, and he doesn't have any zealots to tank.
There's like
No immortals.
He has 1, I think. No, he's just 1 in production. The 1 immortal is not even out yet. But still, it's always hard to commit to something like this if you
He's in the
don't
back
have
of his
blink.
base too. It's gonna
Yeah.
take like 10 minutes to get there.
Like if DNS had blink, the first thing he would do right now just march forward with the immortals and then blink across it. Now he has to be a little bit more cautious about how he wants to execute this. But Todd, you said it, man. 44 army supply against 25. Yeah. These immortals, they're just hammering away at these stalkers. No photon overcharge, no party for you. And this is the reason why I thought maybe having 1 Oracle for DNS would be really sick. Because imagine if the Oracle flies into the main base right now, what you gonna do?
Leave the game, maybe.
When they come
I'll
for
lose
you.
a lot.
Who are you gonna call?
They came from behind. Stop it right there. Kung Fu is gonna scout across the map here, see that there is a Robo Bait drop down from DNS already. DNS has no intention on committing more. Even though he warped in a ton of stalkers there, you're supposed to commit with this, because the more you wait, the worse they're gonna get.
Especially because he does not have blink. Like, it's very uncommon to see a high-level PvP, someone having 14 stalkers and no blink. That's not something I see every day.
I guess behind this, though, he's gonna have a much faster tech to Colossus. He's probably gonna be able to start +2 much faster, because look at this. Kung Fu Panda only now getting his Forge.
Yeah. I mean, Kung Fu is definitely in a little bit of trouble, and it's hard to exactly say what is the best way for him to play it out. But I do feel if this goes into, 3 bases, he keeps up in workers. Yeah, he's always going to be down a little bit in upgrades, but he has blink. Let's not forget, he could separate 4 stalkers of the pack soon if he feels a little bit more confident. Maybe blink into the main base, maybe go for a 4 stalker hit squad. If he kills 6, 7, 8 workers, then I really think we're looking at a very even game.
I think we've seen it very well in Showtime versus Naniwa earlier, that when you're behind, the best solution is not always to all in. You can be patient, you can just, pre-set up a full concave, try to wait for the opponent to attack into you, try to make him attack in the wrong way. And if he doesn't, then he's giving you time to max out, and then you always have a chance to win.
I really like this, Todd. These are small things, right? Kung Fu Panda is showing his army in the middle of the map, which will force DNS to probably look at his army and be like, okay, is he actually going to try to attack me? Yeah. And now he, really?
Yeah, by accident. But then made the Phoenix, and he's going to blink into the main very soon.
Yep, come on, Kung Fu. This is your moment. This is what you were setting up, right? All along. It's a good moment to go for it. There's a little Zealot skirmish as well. He's really distracting DNS. DNS does spot. Oh my god, he messed it up, Todd. Oh no, well, still though, this makes a difference of 2 or 3 probe kills. Well, not flawless execution. He gets 2 already. He should still be able to get 5 or 6 here easily. Don't shoot at the Zealot.
Oh, he's going for the 3rd base at the same time, but DNS stayed there. He only sent a very few units back to defend against this.
Photon overcharge and a couple Zealots and a couple Stalkers.
42 probes for DNS, 50 for Kung Fu.
Yeah, it was still worth it. And he got out of there with 3 Stalkers. If they just regenerate the shields, he can send 1 more to join them.
We already have double Robo up for Kung Fu Panda, by the way. Look at this, double Colossus production. Upgrade-wise, that's the only thing he's really behind in, to be honest, anymore. I guess he's got a little bit less army, but definitely going to make up for it momentarily with the superior economy.
I think slowly but steady, Kung Fu is really crawling his way back into this game, and he's even setting himself up in a pretty decent position. The double Robo is something that's still old school, but it's becoming more and more and more popular again. We saw Naniwa as well busting out a couple double Robos, and I just feel, because in the past, double Robo, if it got scouted, the other guy's just like, haha, well, I got a Stargate anyway. I'm going to make a fleet beacon. As soon as I have 3 Tempests, my party starts. It will take me 2 volleys to kill your Colossus. Now you need a lot more Tempests to kill a Colossus. Do you know how many Tempest to one-shot a Colossus right now?
It's 5 or 6, right?
No, yeah, that's the old Tempest.
Oh yeah, that was 5 before.
Yeah, the old Tempest was 5. It
so
has
now
to
it's
be
like 7 or 8, I guess.
Yeah, I think 8 at least.
Basically too many for us to know and make them.
Exactly.
The last time I tried to make Tempest, it went really bad. But actually, like, I lost one game against Tempest the other day in which it looked kind of good, but it's only 4 base against 4 base situation in a very stale game, which doesn't happen every day.
Armies are going to clash over here on the south side of Terraform. 1 or 2 forces will go down. Like, the army is a little bit deceiving. Yes, there is a 15 army supply lead for DNS, but he still has 13 Stalkers, guys. 13 Stalkers that don't have Blink. It's rubbish. Like, you know, I don't really know any other way to put it.
You've been hanging out with Kailash too much.
Why? Rubbish. No, I mean, it's pretty awful. Like, it looks like DNS is a very big army, but in the old days, in Wings of Liberty era, we used to joke about people having the Stalker syndrome. You remember that?
I know, I started that. And then Hazu kept on saying it every game because everybody made too many Stalkers and then lost the games.
It's like you have these maxed out fights and suddenly your army just disappears and you have no idea why. And then, you know, one of your friends looks at the replay, he's like, oh, well, sir, it seems like you have suffered from the Stalker syndrome. It's like, well, what does that mean? It's that you make too many Stalkers when they're not good anymore.
Only against Zerg. You can make pretty much as many as you want. Against Protoss and Terran both, it's not that good to get too many of them.
He's getting a couple Zealots now. Does DNS have
I want to see Tempest, man.
He could technically...
Like I said, on 4 bases, I think it's worth it to go for it. In a stale game where nobody's attacking and like you have enough cannons in each base that DT drops aren't going to kill you.
He waited long enough now for Gong Fu to get +2 as well, and it's very difficult to attack into Terraform.
If you're maxed out and you think you have more army supply than your opponent, and you have +3, because look at this. DNS 61 probes to 69. That's 8 more supply that he could have in army when he maxes out.
Of which 4 are Stalkers.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Tom.
Aren't you a downer?
Sorry to be a negative Nancy over here, but... I mean, he does have a pretty big army supply lead. +3 is going to finish up, so if this army of DNS was ever going to win, then it kind of has to happen right here, right now. One of the Immortals already lost his shields.
He was so clumped up here. He had to pull back. If he had gone for the fights, it would have gone really bad. But now look at this. Kung Fu Panda had to pull back himself. He's not in a pre-concave that he had set up originally. DNS pulling back a little bit as well.
Like,
this is very chaotic. Neither dares actually going for it.
But it's very hard for DNS. Like, if I was Kung Fu, I would never give up this this area. I think he's a little bit worried because he could have had a few more Immortals and Archons than he actually had. He's going to have it soon, though.
DNS getting a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, it's about to finish up. I want to mention it, but you know, there's a cannon pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, there's 3 in the main for Kung Fu.
Kind of an awkward timing for a Dark Shrine, but it's not very expensive anymore, so it doesn't really matter. Just facing the game.
He still has +3. I think fighting now would be a good idea. 138 army to 123. Here we go. He's going to chase him down. Kung Fu doesn't have a pylon nearby. There is one warping in, but he's going to get killed, I think.
I think Gong Fu's army is so much stronger than the army of DNS over here, man. I'm sorry. I was a negative Nancy all along, Todd. But for a reason, as all these Stalkers, they just melt. Look at these Immortals of Gong Fu doing some serious work. And
DNS tried to get way too fancy with the Colossi here, actually. He went forward, tried to laser down the Colossi of Kung Fu rather than just A-moving.
Yeah, I saw that as well. It's just not an army you're going to win a fight with, mate. 140, man, it was such a decisive victory as well. It wasn't even like he barely hang on. Like, look at this. There's 6-7 Colossus left, Immortals left. Gong Fu Panda right now, 60 supply ahead. So maybe DNS knew all along he was going to lose that fight and went behind. Go Dark Shrine, Todd.
I don't know. He's not using it, though, right now.
Maybe waiting for a prism.
The classic forgot about the Dark Shrine. Look, by the look of things, he actually is just going to try to come back by remaking a standard army here right now. Look at this. Trying to get his Colossi counter up here a little bit. He's only on 1 robo. I feel like it was so important to go into a second robo much quicker. Kung Fu did that super well, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think it was very smart, especially because he did have kind of a rough early game. You know, that first Oracle of DNS did some serious work, and that expand was so quickly, and he couldn't do anything about it, that, you know, if I was Gong Fu, I would have definitely been sweating a lot, but I'm really impressed, man, with his late game PvP. I really think it's super solid.
Yeah.
He impressed me so much in the round of 32 of Season 2, and now here again, like, I like everything I see pretty much.
I think Kung Fu realized how far ahead he is, by the way, and like he made a lot of cannons on that 3rd base, so it's not really going to be snipeable by DTs. It's going to be really hard for him to make a difference like that. Kung Fu also going to have the defensive Dark Shrine, which is a big deal, by the way. Any kind of Zealots that get warped in everywhere, like say there's 10 Zealots in his main, he just gets a bunch of DTs, gets rid of them.
The really good player.
Or that Immortal, the Roddy Immortal.
Why is everything that suicide's a Roddy thing, Todd? Like, I always hear about the Roddy Mothership Core whenever it dies.
You should watch the VODs of your stream and you'll find out. I'm just kidding.
So rude. I do watch the VODs of my stream that time.
Whoa. Considering the hours you stream, that's actually a little scary. Do you ever sleep?
What can I say? I'm very full of myself. Couple zealots over here running into the third base of DNS, trying to do a little bit of work. I mean, at least DNS is going to have a much better army this time, I want to say, but he has 30 zealots. That's a lot of zealots. That's probably a few too many.
I'm really surprised that Kung Fu Panda is letting him remax. I feel like he completely misread the situation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you read the fight so decisively, you can just move across the map and finish it.
Are these DTs, by the way? It's probably Zealot DT, right? What is he going to drop over here? Yep, Zealot.
Christmas package. Oh, nice move.
Yeah. Very nice. So this is very frustrating for DNS. He did make a Phoenix, which I think is a very smart play. Phoenix will chase away that Prism and eventually kill it. But it doesn't change the fact that these units are doing a lot of damage. Both armies are poking each other as well over here in the middle.
12 probes died in natural there for DNS. So his economy is going to be wrecked even more. 45 to 68. But you know what? If he's given the time to max out, he's going to have so much more army supply, which last time actually didn't change that much. And like you said, it's a lot of zealots.
Yep, yeah, 26 zealots at the moment against only 11. Look at the mix of Gong Fu. 8 Colossus, 7 Archons, 4 Immortals. I love it, man. He's getting 2 more Archons now. Eventually, like, I think 9 Colossus is also very acceptable. I think with 10 you're already pushing it. But I think 9 or 8 is always very sweet to have. And then just getting a couple Immortals. Don't go too heavy on the Zealots. If you're richer, you know, a person that's behind will often make a lot of Zealots because he's like, man, my army is so small.
Yeah.
I need to warp in something. And then, you know, you warp in Zealots because Stalkers are not good at this phase in the game.
Kung Fu Panda is building up quite the bank here, actually. Already on 2,000 minerals.
Would you say he's toying with his food a little, Todd?
He's taking his time. We're not quite there yet. Like, if you look at ENS, he's not out of it. He's actually got more army, 143 to 129. So there is still a chance he wins the fight and makes friends proud. But look at this.
Gong Fu
beautiful setup.
He needs some serious move commando to mess this one up. Like I think as long as he attacks move, let's not forget that he also killed the Forge. He's going to have +2 shield armor soon. Very useful for all these Archons that he currently has. DNS is getting 1 more Colossus, and I do like that. That means he's going to have 9 Colossus. So he has a minor advantage when it comes to the Colossus department.
Yeah, 8 and 8. 4 Immortals is a pretty big deal. I really like, by the way, having a Warp Prism at this stage in the game for the fights, because you go behind your opponent's army and then you warp in right in there, and only Kung Fu Panda has one here right now.
A lot of people do that, and like I'm still kind of on the fence because I feel like if you warp in 12 units and then they kill the Prism and you have to start all over again, it slows you down a lot.
Yeah, but that's why you need to place it properly, though.
Okay, some people just fly it over your army.
Yeah, well.
That's only on my level, Todd. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Don't even have to.
I didn't say anything.
I just know what you're thinking.
Is he gonna recall? I think he might just recall. Yep.
I think it's a very solid snipe over here on the next.
Oh no, he's setting up.
I mean, he has a pylon over here, and he has the Prism, like you mentioned.
As well.
161 army supply for DNS, but he's so clumped up. Like, I feel if you have this many Zealots, Todd, you always need to flank.
Yeah.
And DNS is not like going for a flank over here, so I kind of feel that all of these Zealots will just run straight into their death.
He's got 1 more Colossus actually.
Yeah, I think
10 to 8 now. Is it the turnarounds?
The recall is very
smart. If he had been close. Recalling to your opponent's army can be risky. Oh, he's going to set up beautifully there, DNS.
Man, I love this. Like,
he's really missing a Warp Prism.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And a pylon. Like, you need a pylon. Even when he's not that rich right now, you never want to fight without a pylon. He's going to wipe out his mineral line, so that's nice. DNS catching a little bit of a break with that. 1 Colossus, Todd, is actually separated from the pack.
3 of them are attacking the buildings on the left-hand side, and they're not coming in. 3 of them are idle.
This seems like a pretty okay engagement, despite all that, though, from DNS. Now the Archons are coming in, but Gong Fu is just so much richer, but the fight is pretty good. There are no observers!
Oh my god, these DTs cut down everything. Now the Colossus are going to get chased down and killed, most likely. The DTs right behind them.
Oh my god.
And Kung Fu, he's done goofed there.
Wow, he's still so rich, though, Todd. What do you do? Oh, that one Phoenix as well. That Phoenix probably sniped the other observer from Kung Fu Panda. And like Gong Fu is so rich.
Yeah, I think DNS knows right now that he needs to go for the natural. He needs to snipe the robos. He needs to get into basically the middle of all those production facilities, because if he lets Kung Fu Panda rebuild that Colossus count, there is a chance he might be able to throw this. And Kung Fu is actually on 3 robo. He's getting 3 Colossi at the time right now, but they're split away from each other.
Yep. But still, though, he's so rich that I kind of feel with one or two more, careful, he's going to have to really babysit his units.
Yeah, but the thing is, DNS now took the gold base. He retook that, so...
Yeah, but he's so broke, though. I mean, okay, he's going to snipe one robo. That's nice. He's going to find one Colossus in the main base. But he's also setting himself up to get sandwiched. The army on the third base was already quite big of going full Panda. Where are these Colossus going to go? The Mothership Core does not have energy for...
And DNS has no way to reinforce. Still no Warp Prism, that Phoenix.
Oh, Colossus. I think they're all going to die, Todd. There are a lot of Zealots will warp in. There are so many warp in possibilities over here for Gong Fu Panda. And I think that DNS, despite really decisively winning that fight in the middle of the map, will still end up losing this game. Look at this one Dark Templar. He doesn't stop. Now Gong Fu Panda has his own Dark Templar as well.
The Rowdy Dark Templar, there you go.
Ah, thank you, Todd. Look at this guy. Oh, no,
and this is the Rowdy Dark Templar there.
I mean, DNS did do some serious damage over here, but in the end, I feel like it's just not going to be enough because Gong Fu immediately retook this base as well. He still has all those robotics facilities. He had more gateways. Probably got very scared after this fight over here. Like, this was a really good engagement for DNS.
Yeah.
He had units from here.
I really think that if he had had a Prism here, he should have won.
It's tricky when your opponent has 4,000 minerals.
Yeah, but
maybe.
Like he was going for the fight before Kung Fu was going to have an end off. It's really,
So-
you know, that full surround.
Yeah. What do you think is the best thing to do? I like your point where you said you kind of have to position yourself in the middle.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
went for the natural first, killing that robo. Maybe he should have
didn't-
gone
yeah,
for
No,
the
he didn't
third
kill the
base.
Robo, actually.
Oh, wow, he didn't. No.
Yeah, killing that immediately definitely was a good idea. And then going into the main and making sure that if Kung Fu Panda was going to go up the ramp from behind,
Yeah.
you're in a good position to fight.
The only thing I hate about that, Todd, is whenever you go with your PvP army, when it's kind of weak, right? Because this was not a maxed out army. If Colossus are in the main and you attack move, Colossus will randomly shoot at so many random
Yeah, but that's why
buildings.
you manually select them and
Okay.
attack the army.
Yeah, it's very... But
I know
even
it's hard to do for us because we've been trained for years to attack move and watch the fight. So
No, but like
Can be done.
even zealots and stuff, if you attack move in a main base, everything will just sprint in a different
yeah.
direction. So I think it's risky, but maybe that was his only choice though, because Gong
Yeah.
Fu Panda just had so much more money.
I really don't think he could sit back.
No, I definitely not sit back, but I was just kind of figuring out what is the best way to go.
Yeah,
at it.
where to go.
Yeah.
I don't think the third base like it's easy to attack either, but maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree with starting with the natural because that's the safest position, and then get a reinforcements point and just make sure that your army is always really, really clumped up and like close. I know you don't want to clump up when there is a big fight maxed out, but if you have 6 Colossus and your opponent has 1 here and 1 there, then you do want to keep everything close together, so you
Yeah.
have a big damage burst on everything that's being warped in.
A most ambitious move out, by the way. Look at the army of DNS and the one of Kung Fu.
It's
One
kind of...
final stands.
It's probably very hard to read right now. It's like, what is the correct thing to do? But, you know, Gong Fu Panda has been using some of that massive bank that he has.
Yeah.
Definitely got a scare after that fight in the middle of the map went so terribly wrong for him. But, you know, with
He's
4,000
definitely very
minerals,
resilient. Not your typical French.
this is
Not
also...
quite waving the white flag yet, Roddy.
I'm glad you made that joke, because I can't. Don't want to make
You
the French
can. Everybody
angry.
makes it.
Oh, DNS is a little bit trapped. He's probably going to have to recall out, but we'll lose 2, 3 Archons and a couple Zealots, and with that, he's just going to tap out after he realized that his opponent was just a little too rich over here in game number 1. Pretty sick game, though, to kick things off with. See, guys, PvP can be fun.
If you're Protoss, I guess it is very fun, but for the Zerg and Terran watching, I'm sure they are more like, why weren't they attacking? There's so many Colossus. But actually, I do agree that it's pretty fun, like watching these fights. I definitely feel like both of these players, they could have played a lot more aggressive than they did, though.
Yeah.
But again, it's a case of being able to see everything. Like, we see the numbers literally on our screen. We see how much army supply there is. So we're like, why isn't he attacking? But, you know, when you win a fight, you don't necessarily know how much your opponent behind this is going to be able to remax and how quickly. So that's why it's very hard to attack.
PvP is a very unforgiving matchup as well,
Yeah.
because I truly felt that Gong Fu, other than, you know, the Mothership Core being out of position early game, losing 5-6 probes, I think he played very solid for an extremely long amount of time. And then there's this one fight where DNS actually has the better position, where the
Yeah.
units of Gong Fu are a little bit more clumped up, and they were in that side blocker, and there was a pylon more nearby for DNS. Then suddenly everything just swings, and you don't just like kind of lose the fight, you lose the fight by a landslide. It's like 6 Colossus survive, you lose everything, and then you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened. But still though, very fun game. Game number 2 is going to be played on Cactus Valley, a very unique map when it comes to PvP. Todd, Are you ready for some Phoenix versus Phoenix? Because I am. I'm feeling it.
I'm not feeling the Phoenix versus
You're not
Phoenix
feeling
here.
it?
No.
You're feeling Dark Shrine? I feel it's one of the two.
A Nexus for one of them. You know what? Let's leave dangerously. A quick Nexus.
A 1-gate Nexus?
Yeah.
Dark Shrine then?
Robo.
Okay. Wow.
Which is actually pretty bad if you face target.
Yeah, I know. That's suicide again.
Too late. I already said it.
Almost suicide against Phoenix. We'll see. We're loaded into game number 2 in this PvP series, the second best of 5 of the day. We have 2 more for you guys in store after this one, and especially I think the third one is very cool. Nurcho versus Harstem. We're going to close things out with Firecake versus Zenster. But for now, we're going to hop into game number 2 of this PvP series between DNS and Gong Fu Panda on Cactus Valley.
Starting in the bottom right-hand side, playing as the red Protoss, it is, of course, the almighty Kung Fu Panda.
Panda, Todd.
Panda. Kung Fu Panda. It's so hard to cast an entire game and having to say his nickname so many times.
He just hates us. And I swear, early wings or mid wings, he was just called Kung Fu Panda. And I think he just changed it in a certain point. Because there was a Kung Fu Panda Protoss on ladder.
Are you sure it was him?
I'm not sure if it was him, but there was a Kung Fu Panda. And now there is a Kung Fu Panda, which is a little bit more frustrating. On the right top side, we're looking at the base of our blue Protoss that's representing against all authority. It is DNS. I've always thought that's a very cool clan name from the Frenchies.
Yeah.
Against all authority. It makes me feel like a little bit of a rebel. It's like, yeah, sitting in my room playing video games against all authority.
Then again, man, aren't all Frenchies against all authority and rebels? We spoke about it. Actually, DNS is the very quiet guy.
I've never met him, I think.
It's pretty chill.
Most French Protosses are.
Sure.
Lilba is very chill. Petit Drogo is a great guy as well.
Yeah.
And then there's this other guy who retired. And I think we're going to see Proxy target over here, Todd, as double gas has been taken already for DNS. So he's definitely rolling the dice here a little bit. This is like, you know what? I'm just going to send my probe to the bottom of the map. You know, there's a 66% chance my target is relatively close. 2 out of 3, I'll take it, you know. If this gets scouted, he's in a world of trouble. It's not... Oh, this is great. This could be a great scout for Kung Fu Panda, though.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, you talk as if, you know, it's a big risk or something, whereas you play for a lot worse odds than that at the casino, Roddy. We all know that.
True. True. If I could get 66% in the casino, I'd be there all day, Todd. But unfortunately, we don't. This is a phenomenal scout for Kung Fu Panda because he's going to be seeing the assimilators. He sees they're fully saturated, and above all, he spots there's only one pylon over here with a quick cybercore. He's like, well, I guess that means you're going proxy Stargate. If I was going for Panda, I'd go Stargate as well. He goes Twilight. Man, I would have gone Stargate.
Yeah, because he doesn't know, I think, maybe, what it is.
It could indeed be a proxy Twilight and a Dark Shrine, so maybe he wants to play it very safe.
So going for Blink with Observer here is going to be a safer choice, but he needs to start Stalkers and get 3 of them out very quickly here to defend against the, I guess, the Oracle that's going to fly in. Yeah,
which is pretty much the absolute quickest Oracle that's going to show up in your base. Probably like 5 minutes and 40 seconds-ish. And it's devastating. DNS is going to check the left bottom side of the map, and he's like, okay, he's not there. So I saw probe in my base, and I think it came from the right bottom. Hot.
He's going to miss it.
Warm hot. Oh my god.
Unless he goes up behind this, nah, just going to go back. DNS, very unfortunate. Scouts in the wrong location twice behind this. No, this reminds me of my...
But he's happy about that, though.
Well, I mean, he has the target in the right location, but he's scouting with the probe towards the wrong location. Like, ideally, I think he would have liked to see maybe a little something.
Dark Shrine, Todd. Dark Shrine.
Yeah. I don't think it's good. Or, like, no, it's not the best choice here. Because he's going to get spotted. And then behind this, DNS is going to have an Oracle. DNS has the same economy as Kung Fu Panda somehow.
Imagine if DNS sacrifices his Oracle. Well, he won't do that because he will spot the Dark Shrine. 2 Stalkers.
Probably, yeah.
2 Stalkers and a Photon Overcharge. If I'm going for Panda, I activate it pretty much immediately. No.
Oh,
it's gonna die. It's gonna. No, it's not. Wow, that was close.
Hashtag Roddy calls.
So.
Did he see it though? Because he's not flying back. He spotted it, but if you look back, you're supposed to see.
I am not 100% sure. I think whenever you fly in with an Oracle in this phase in the game, you're so focused on the probes and the Stalkers that you won't always click on a building that may or may not look like a Dark Shrine. Well, okay, he's keeping it at home. It has 50 energy. He finds his pylon. I think he knows.
I wonder,
He knows.
I wonder what DNS is going to go into there. Does he start Blink and a Nexus? Yeah, he starts Blink, actually. He doesn't need to get a Robo just yet because he has the Oracle.
Man,
Maybe he plays Blink and aggressive? Because Kung Fu is really not going to have much, and he already used the Photon of a charge.
Yep. Well, you make a very valid point there, because Dark Templars really didn't do much. The only thing is, though, I always feel it's very hard to be very aggressive against DTs. Because
he's supposed to Nexus, and he won't reveal it.
Hey, but DNS doesn't have a Mothership Core, I thought. So if I'm Kung Fu Panda, I just wipe in one DT as soon as I see these units. I'll send him to the main base. And do you know how frustrating it is? Even if he leaves the Oracle at home, I guess soon he will have enough energy for Envision and
it's a one-man job, Rolly.
Well, there we go. See how well this one Oracle will do.
Oh, he's sending it out.
You think he sees?
Where's he going?
Do you think he
to
sees
spot
that?
other proxy pylons. He's gonna. Oh, he was queued to see another one supposedly.
So these Stalkers are doing serious amounts of work, but Kung Fu Panda, all he needs to do is just kill 4, 5, 6 probes.
Oh, the Oracle needs to fly back. He was looking for the DT. Now it's going to be in his mineral line. DNS not paying attention there.
Yeah, like killing the... Oh, man. At least, you know, the one-man job. 5 workers, though. So, yes, DNS canceled the Nexus. That's pretty cool and all, but he's down 7 workers in a one-base versus one-base scenario.
Second Immortal there is about to come out. I don't know. Okay, having an observer is such a massive deal here by Kung Fu because he sees the Stalker's amount. He knows he should be worried.
Just warp in the DT. Just warp in the DT if you're Kung Fu Panda, right? This is such a suicide attack by DNS, and it's actually going quite okay-ish, but he didn't kill one of the Immortals as well.
This is really bad.
Yeah, it's not too okay, but there's no way he could ever win with this because he doesn't have detection.
I'm not sure why Kung Fu is getting a Prism, actually, by the way, but I don't think it's going to matter anyway. So many Stalkers have already died. That second Immortal not even going to fall. And behind his DNS, he's like, well, it's time for the low lockdown. Sentry down the ramp.
Just wipe in the DT, Kung Fu. Why wouldn't you wipe in the DT?
Why did he get a Prison?
I don't know.
That's a much better question. Maybe he wants to pick up these Immortals and save them, but...
Yeah. I guess. Some micro
still a bit weird.
Couple of crazy calls, perhaps the nerves getting to the players here a little bit. Blink now on the way for Kung Fu Panda as well. DNS did rebuild a couple of his workers just now, and this is something I want to mention before that fight started. He's starting his Mothership Core, and that's why it was very hard for him ever to really win the game, because he could never leave the main, because he didn't even have, you know, that. The only detection he has is this Oracle, so it always has to stay home. If the Oracle runs out of energy, he has nothing that could even kill a single Dark Templar.
It's interesting that Kung Fu gets Blink himself, by the way. I guess he already had the Twilight, so might as well, but if DNS gets a bunch of Immortals out, then it kind of resets the whole situation, and they both go into Colossus behind this, assuming neither of them commits to a huge attack, which a lot of the time is going to fail.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think getting Blink here is necessary for Kung Fu Panda. It's not the end of the world, but I kind of feel the moment you get Blink, you also want to get some Stalkers, and then those Stalkers have to do something, because in the big fight, as we saw in Terraform, Stalkers just don't cut it, you know, above 150, 160 supply. They're pretty garbage.
Another gate going down by Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, so he's going to be aggressive. He doesn't have any intentions of going up to Colossus this game, Todd. And let's not forget, he still has that Warp Prism. And now this Warp Prism eventually could have a massive impact on this game. Because if an army of Immortals and Blink Stalkers positions himself over here, and then the Warp Prism flies into the main base, unloads a couple Zealots and DTs, if you're a broke Protoss like DNS, that's so hard to deal with.
Even during the attack, being able to reinforce there and pick up these Immortals is going to be super important.
I'm going to see. Cheeky Claris. Kung Fu might actually find this pylon. Yep, spots a pylon. That's always nice. Small things like that. His army's going to move forward. He's on 33 probes. Probably won't be building a whole lot of probes the upcoming minutes. Oh, wow. He just ignores it. Okay. Man.
He's in a rush, man.
Maybe
he's on a mission.
Maybe he doesn't want to reveal his army marching across the map.
Yeah. I think DNS probably doesn't know as well. He sees that there is no army in the natural. Oh, the Oracle almost falling there. And this is going to be a pretty strong timing there. What is he? What?
What? I don't know. Now
I don't know about the strong timing anymore.
And I don't know about that counter forward Blink with DNS. He just gave a couple away, couple stocks away as well.
We should just stop making calls.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of
going to be a strong timing. Like he targets a stalker that's in the back and he blinks out of there. It's like, what are you doing?
90 supply for Gang Fu Panda right now, who is going back to building probes and a fort as well. I think DNS saw that War Prism and he kind of panicked. He's like, oh god, he's getting 2 cannons. No, he's getting 2 cannons in the front actually. So the main base is still very exposed. Oracle is still, oh my god, staying alive by 10 HP and 10 shields. Now the War Prism is heading towards the main base.
Yeah, and actually there is an observer there for DNS already in position, so if he gets enough units down there to defend, he's gonna be okay, but
Could even drop a photon overcharge, let's not forget about that
I don't
one.
think he has the energy.
Oh yeah, that's right, he used it in the natural. Oh, the entire army, no, no,
Oof.
no.
Almost happens. Actually, if Kung Fu Panda attacked with his whole army at the natural and hit some good force fields, he might be able to break
very
DNS. I think he
smart.
might. Is he gonna go for it? Oh, the Oracle died across the map, by the way. He got chased down by Kung Fu Panda's stalkers.
The War Prism died as well, Todd, in the main base. Very good blink. So these 3 guys did take out that Oracle. Finally, that was so low in HP. Now we're looking at a pretty even game in a weird way, right? Like both
Yeah.
players kind of working with the same units. There's 3 worker differential. Maybe Gang Fu Panda's army is still a little bit stronger, but the nice thing that DNS has is that he will always have these cannons to fall back on. So, you know, that's something. Gang Fu is going to
Hashtag
snipe.
in control cannons.
Nice.
+1 started about the same time. RoboBay just a little bit behind here for DNS. So we're gonna go into a longer game by the look of things.
Yeah, Gang Fu is going for like a soft contain over here. It's just like, if you want to walk past this, that's fine. I have 3 sentries with a lot of force field energy.
4 immortals to 4. DNS actually getting a 5th one. He's gonna go up to 6 gates now ASAP against the 4 of Kung Fu Panda.
Well, +1 halfway done for him. Pretty much the same as for Gang Fu. This is a very bizarre PvP on Cactus Valley. So many weird things have happened. He keeps having both observers with his army. Do you think he's pressing F2 all the time?
I'm not sure. I think maybe just grouped them and never really paid attention. Like, you remember he had to defend in the main, and then maybe, you know, he just did the classic group everything at once.
Yes, I am
Which
I'm very familiar with
Yeah.
that one. Oh, I think one
So am I.
observer. I think one observer is actually following the mothership core, and the other observer is with the
yeah.
army. That's kind of cool. So he would always have detection if he photon overcharges his main base, because that observer is always following. That's kind of a cute.
Backup observer already.
Yeah.
DT was warped in across the map, I think, to prevent the 3rd base from going down the
Oh,
first
that
time.
timing.
If he gets to cancel once, actually, that's a pretty big deal. But I don't think he's gonna die. He's gonna lose the DT, I think. Oh, pulls back.
I think it's really funny when you hear this animation already. He's like pulls out the sword. He's ready to slay a probe, and then he's not.
Yeah, he shouldn't make the sound if he doesn't die, actually.
Well, you know, like the sword. If a warrior pulls out his sword out of, you know, the thing where it contains in, then it makes a sound. It doesn't necessarily mean he has to.
Yeah, but now he's already out. It's not a katana, but it's a blade from ire.
Okay, good point. Good point. He's not exactly a ninja. Eh?
Or a samurai. Even though he's DTs are much cooler than samurais. No offense to samurais, of course.
He's got a badass weapon, that's for sure.
So the game is gonna stabilize for now. We still have Kung Fu Panda ahead in supply. 3 walkers ahead, quite a bit of army supply. Going into charge actually quite a bit earlier here than DNS. But +2 started about the same time.
This is always so frustrating. Like, you know there's a Dark Templar around and you try to kill it, and then you're like, okay, well, I guess it just walked away. And then the moment you send your probes, you end up losing 3. And you're like, oh man, sucks.
It's very satisfying to finally kill the DT though. When I finally catch you.
So 52 workers against 53. Upgrades, you know, it's pretty much dead even across the board. Templar Arca is going down. Gang Fu Panda is going to make his 2nd War Prism of the game. First one wasn't super successful. This is the type of game, Todd, like I think attacking on Cactus Valley, especially when it's as dead even as it is right now, could get very tricky. Double Robo being warped in right now for DNS. Like Gang Fu Panda has slightly more army supply, but this game he is the player with way more Stalkers. At least he does have Blink, so they're not as bad as the Stalkers of DNS.
2nd Robo going down at the exact same time, by the way. Like production tab is almost an exact mirror there.
Which is bizarre because this game has played out in such a unique and crazy way so far, and with everything that has happened. But I think there is a small chance we could maybe see Tempest super late game.
Yeah?
The only bad thing is that neither player has an active Stargate. I feel like people are much more tempted to go into Tempest if they already have that Stargate in their main, right? Then it's like, then it's just a fleet beacon. Now it's a Stargate and a fleet beacon and one more Stargate.
You think 4 bases is the time you should be going for Tempest, or 5?
No, I think 4 is fine. 4 is absolutely fine. You saw how rich Kung Fu Panda was in
Well,
previous
you do
games.
it with 1, so...
That's only against Terrantot. Big warping in the main base. Couple Zealots and Dark Templars. Where is that Mothership Core right now with that trailing observer?
Oh,
Because
the
you're going
cannon's
to
gonna get
lose your
surrounded.
cannon. If I was Kung Fu Panda, by the way, I'd go for the Forge here. I'd prioritize the Forge over
An
almost
observer
anything.
from DNS is flying back right now. He's around the 3rd base. And actually his army,
Forge.
Kung Fu Panda, if he engages too early here against DNS, is going to be in trouble.
I like how DNS always blinks forward and prioritizes the Warp Prism. At the same time, Gong Fu is going to try to strike over here. Guardian Shield being popped.
He should have chased. DNS would have forced the recall. And we have the 4th base now on the way for Kung Fu Panda. Double Colossus production still ongoing here from both players. 1 more Immortal, so 5 against 4 in DNS's favor. 5 Colossi to 5. Very even game. This is crazy.
Yep.
After all that happens, resources lost. 4,500 to 3,800. And units lost. I guess more of a variety here
I'm actually a little bit
with Kung Fu Panda.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that DNS lost more units in this game, but he did make a crazy amount of Stalkers early on, and I guess that does add up. Stalkers are not as cheap as they look. Zerg always thinks that Stalkers are for free, but they do actually cost something.
They're not as cheap as they should be.
Yeah, no roaches thought. Couple Zealots.
Here we go again with the half-price Stalker jokes.
Python getting sniped. DNS has to be very careful.
Yeah,
'cause
the
he
3rd
doesn't really
base actually of DNS right now is on a siege from Zealots and
Yeah,
EDT.
and
There
this-
is a single cannon.
And it's so exposed. It's so exposed. This cannon's going to die. Oh god, DNS.
You might have to recall.
Yeah, I would actually. Otherwise, he's going to lose all of his workers over here. He's bringing over. Oh yeah, there we go. Smart move.
Reinforcements are here. Surprise!
Somebody call for the exterminator.
Look at the +3 finishing at about the exact same time, but Kung Fu Panda having a 4th base there. He's going to be in a fantastic position going further in this game. He's dropping down 3 more gates, going for Plasma Shields level 1. In particular, those gases on that 4th base are going to be important because his gas economy is just going to be ridiculous once he saturates that.
Yep. That is the one thing that I really like for Kung Fu right now.
What do you think about DNS going into ground armor instead of Plasma Shields?
I feel it's old school. I feel like most people these days, it depends a little bit on your army composition, right? But
Yeah.
he doesn't have too many Archons yet, but I think more and more Protos. Sometimes they get just 1 armor and then they go into shields.
Yeah. There is 1 more Colossus for DNS, by the way, and 15 Stalkers for Kung Fu. So
Yeah, but he's smart enough to start reselling that. Like we know that his understanding of late game PvP is very good, and he's just gonna try to get as much value out of these Stalkers as possible. I don't think he wants to clash against this big army.
yeah. I'm really surprised that there is no defensive Dark Shrine from DNS, actually.
You know, like this is just why I love his PvP. Look at the vision of Kung Fu Panda. He has a little bit everywhere, and then if you look at DNS, it's very limited to his bases and his army. I really love Kung
He
Fu
has to
Panda.
walk
man.
all the way back now. He should have left way more Zealots back home if he was going to defend against these Stalkers. He even saw them. Big mistake here by DNS when Robo's going to get sniped.
No.
He's finally going to be able to come back and defend this, but I don't think that Kung Fu is going to, I guess, care about losing these Stalkers. There
No.
is even a DT in the 3rd base.
He's gonna get another Robotod. He's resetting the Stalker count for both robotics facilities, and during all this, like you mentioned, a Dark Templar over here as well. This is a clinic, man. Kung Fu, like we've said it multiple times, this was a pretty damn even game, and Kung Fu Panda is here just making the difference with a lot of small moves, great army movement, great positioning, and just better choices overall. Like,
Yeah, but he made a grave mistake, though.
which is
DNS is now on 45 probes. That's 155 army supply potential already.
yeah, we call it you know, a lot of the players out there they call it getting Protoss. When you outplay your opponent for 10 minutes, you kill all their workers, and
You
then
can get Protoss in PvP.
Yeah.
Look at his Archons in the main, by the way. They are trapped forever.
oh my
Because
god.
of that pylon. Oh my god. He made a pylon on the left-hand side and blocked
No,
himself.
no, that's not gonna free you, man. That's the wrong pylon.
Oh my god. They dug a tunnel in the wrong place, Roddy.
He kills the Cybercore. Did he rebuild his robos?
Kill the assimilator while you are at it. It's
Hey.
already mined out.
Hey, he just killed his Cybercore, but he lost both robotics facilities.
Yeah, so he's remaking it at the 3rd base, the Cybercore, and he
Yeah.
cannot make robos
Yeah.
now.
That was probably
Oh my god.
the 2 worst buildings to kill in a row. An innocent pylon That was just collateral damage. this
DNS cannot warp in too many units there, by the way, to defend at that third base. So he's going to be in trouble. The first cannon died. The other ones were getting targeted down by Zealots. DT again, going to be doing damage. And look at this. Oh, Gung Fu actually moving out of position here for a second. DNS might just tilt and go for it. I think he should.
Of course, he's losing all these workers over here. He's going to wipe in a bunch of units, whatever he has money for. Dark Templars.
He has a defensive Dark Shrine now, but he's not using it. Oh no, he is. These are two of his.
He has 4 observers. There's only 1 observer for Gung Fu Panda. If Gung Fu Panda loses his 1 observer, and then the DTs of DNS do some serious work.
Yeah. I told you, man, he killed probes.
Yeah, I know. He's going to go for the ultimate.
That's rule number 1.
He's going to go for the ultimate Protoss, man. He's like, you killed all my workers, I'll kill your army. He's rebuilding a robot. I have no idea why he should cancel this.
I'm not sure how you should play against these, to be honest. I think Gung Fu should probably kill some of his own probes.
Nah, he should just set himself up in the perfect concave. Eventually, he could get rid of a few, but
he made a lot of gateways in the main just now, which I like. But is it going to be enough?
I really
170 army supply to 135. That's a massive difference.
It is, and the difference is mostly in Archons, and it doesn't really always mean that much. Like I think DNS can win.
Kites, right? A lot.
Nah. I think DNS can win if he gets a great engagement.
Time warp.
Running up this ramp is not going to do it for him. Warp in a High Templar. Okay, here we go. I think DNS is pretty much committed now. I really think he should have cancelled that robo, by the way. I will keep going on about this because it's just stupid. You're super broke. You have nothing anymore. Why are you building a robo?
Plan B, Roddy.
No, mate, there's no plan. Right now, this is plan Z. He's on, he's on 21 workers, mate.
This is plan M for Moment, 21 workers.
Oh, poor Moment. For always in our heart, the 21
I think, yeah, that's a ramp, like one of those big ramps, if you can engage into them. Oh, look at this. Gung Fu moved out of that position there. If DNS can get in there earlier, but he's not.
1 observer. I think the only way that Gung Fu Panda is going to lose is how many Dark Templars?
Kung Fu Panda's got a DT and Zealots in every base there, sniping the extra Nexuses. DNS only mining from his natural right now.
I feel that Gung Fu should have a few units here as well.
I really think that Kung Fu can lose there.
Yeah.
174 army to 137. This is insane.
And a couple of the army supplies even harassing on the other side of the map.
Oh, the sandwich.
Yeah. I like. This is probably
the baguette sandwich.
This is probably his best chance. All right, Todd, take it away.
Here we go. DNS gonna swoop in there with a lot of units. Delay the attack on the right-hand side a little bit. Kung Fu Panda setting up to try and defend as best as possible. But look at this, he's getting flanked big time right now. Both players trading a lot. The supply of DNS plummeting, bringing the gap a lot closer. Actually, 91 army supply to 70.
Oh,
he moved a little bit.
Come on, where are your weapons, Gung Fu Panda? I feel like
he's not swapping anything.
I feel like he has not warped in forever. Like he has a warp prism over there. So DNS does win the fight. Oh my God,
that is so many Colossi left over there. 9, but Gung Fu still has 6 as targets. Those targets not going to do anything. Nope, I'm not sure why DNS is not chasing, because right now Kung Fu Panda is remaking a lot of Archons and Zealots on the left-hand side. We saw what happened in the first map. And actually DNS cannot even reinforce nearby.
Well, that was a very juicy shot, but a couple of these Immortals are very clumped up. I think that Gung Fu Panda, again, Todd, is just too rich. It's not easy. Ooh, whoa, okay, lose 2 Colossus there, but even Zealots are good against Colossus now. When these Colossus are so exposed and so naked, you know, Gung Fu Panda has just played way better in the previous 10 minutes, killed all the bases, killed all the economy. And yeah, a couple Colossus survived the battle, but in the end, there is just too much money for the German Protoss, as GG is called. And he takes a 2-0 lead over here on Cactus Valley.
The Deutsche Bank, man.
The Deutsche Bank.
It was really, really rich.
Yes.
Had a lot of minerals. I think it was like 4.5. I guess he probably made a big whopping in the fight, but he got rid of very quickly, because usually you go for Zealots. Yeah. That's why it seemed like he wasn't really reinforcing, even though he was. But I think Gung Fu Panda maybe should have pulled back a little bit faster, but in the end, he was just too far ahead anyway.
It's like when you do that much economic damage, it's not even that DNS was still like on 2 mining bases, you know, with 30 probes or something. It was like 0. There was nada. There was never going to be anything that would make his army stronger anymore. And that all goes back to just the great harass and great army movement, great positioning from Gung Fu Panda over the past 10 minutes. Like, we looked at it and it was pretty dead even. Both players, same amount of workers, same upgrades, double robo going down. And then, you know, normally it's very hard to make the difference in PvP, but Gung Fu Panda just played so well. And, like, he had these stalkers for the longest amount of time, and you mentioned it, and on certain point I was just like, well, he understands this. And, like, when he actually sacrificed them, it was such a great sacrifice.
I feel like if DNS had just a few more probes, say like 30-ish, and was mining from 1 more base, it could have made a big difference because he would have been able to remake Archons with this, and he had 9 Colossi. I really don't know why he didn't chase. It's funny because in the first game, maybe he went a little bit too far.
Yeah.
And then this game, he was like, I'm not going to make the same mistake. This time I'm going to play it a little bit slower. So he didn't chase in the main, even though those units, they were just like waiting to die there. If he had chased all the way, he would have killed them. But then again, he would have been trapped. So DNS, instead of getting this many Zealots, he needs to make, I guess, 1 less and get a War Prism instead because he cannot reinforce in those fights. And I mean, in this game, I guess he didn't have minerals, but...
he had 0, yeah. It was nada. There was
in the
nothing.
previous one, I really feel like that's what cost him the game in huge parts.
Because on Terraform he could have reinforced a little bit. He was mining a tiny bit.
It's a big lesson actually. Like you should always have a War Prism. It happened to me too before.
Yeah, actually I recently played a couple games myself, and I played against one guy who indeed said, he's like, you should always get a prism in maxed out PvP fight.
One guy in your chat again?
No,
all caps this time?
An opponent of mine.
Okay.
And I was being a little salty. I was like, no, it doesn't matter. Like he wipes in 20 zealots behind my army, just shreks me, and I was like, no, it didn't make the difference. Like
I had already lost.
Yeah. I was too far behind, man. Like you could have wiped in sentries and you would have still won. But I was like, and then I looked at it. I was like, it seemed to be pretty smart. But even for those scenarios, indeed, you're like, if you win the fight, lose the fight, don't rely on only pylons. If one of those pylons gets sniped, then you have to wait for a probe. It always takes a long time.
The thing about coming in from behind too is that a lot of the time when the fights in PvP is happening, the mid shield at the front will die, and what will be left over, like then it's the immortals that die, and then what's left over is always Colossus against Colossus, and usually you want to kite as much as possible, especially if you're winning. So with coming in from behind, you not only get a sure shot with the first charge into this Colossus, but you're also going to be able to chase a little bit because they won't all die at once unless there is too much left over.
And your Zealots survive longer. And I know that Zealots die very quickly against Colossus, but if they come from the back, then you have a few Colossus that will still shoot at their Colossus, and then you have a few Colossus that will be shooting at the Zealots coming from behind. So then suddenly it's not like bzz, bzz, everything dies. Then it takes like 4 or 5 waves, and both sides they just do a lot less damage, and that's why flanks are so extremely important in PvP. And I mean, I've been saying this over and over again right now. I sound like a broken record, but I'm loving Kung Fu Panda's PvP. Like I think it's very solid.
I feel like DNS butchered the fight a little bit because he's trying to get a little bit too fancy with the target from his Colossus. I really think that here, attack move, I'm not kidding you, like, I make a lot of jokes, but attack move is all you need to do. Come in from 2 sides, and then maybe move a little bit your units so that they don't all get splashed and stuff. But many times during those fights, I saw him trying to get fancy and controlling, the Colossus and where they were shooting. And every time he did that, he went too far forward and got hit very hard when it happens.
Yeah, over micro is definitely a thing in PvP. Sometimes you just get too carried away. You're trying to do too much, and then you look back at it, it's like...
You realize what we're doing.
I should have...
Like Zerg and Terrence are going to make fun of us endlessly.
It's okay. It's
over micro is a thing in PvP. Roddy 2015 with your face on there. It's
cheeky,
over, man.
Cheeky. All right, let's go ahead and hop into game number 3 that is going to be played on Coda. As DNS has his work cut out for him. He is, of course, the blue Protoss spawning on the left top side of Coda, representing against All Authority, who wants to make it into Premier League for the first time in his career. But I think that he got a very, very difficult opponent in this man over here on the right bottom side. Definitely a new school player. He's one of the best players in Germany right now. It is Kung Fu Panda. Banda was able to defeat 4GG 2-0 in the round of 16 of Premier League Season 2. Came so close, pushed Hydra to the limits, pushed Bunny to the limits. Unfortunately, he didn't make it in the end, but I think so far he's showing us, man, he belongs in Premier League.
Germany doing really well, man. Hero Marine, Showtime, and TLO all qualifying before this. And now Kung Fu Panda on the verge of qualifying. 4 players in Premier League. They'd be the most represented country. Above France, definitely, because we only got 2, and then a third one will play later, Firecake, so that'd be 3 at most. So doing pretty well there.
Yep.
It's pretty cool to see, the shift. There's always a lot of talk about which country is doing the best beside Korea.
Absolutely, and I mean, especially if you take a look at those players. TLO, of course, someone that's been around since day 1 of the beta, pretty much. But the other 3 guys, definitely... Hero Marine has also been around for a long time. It just took a little while before he started getting some traction, and he's still so young. But like I think in particular, Showtime and Kung Fu Panda, definitely a newer generation of German Protoss. They kind of just took the scepter from the Hazuops and the Zokkes, who are now playing Heroes of the Storm, as true Blizzard game specialists that they are. But the new German Protoss is pretty damn scary as well, Todd.
Yeah. Definitely making their ancestors proud. That's funny a word it is. DNS gonna scout very thoroughly here for proxies. Same for Kung Fu Panda. That 1 gate proxy, man, it's quite deadly. You need to respect it.
Yep. That's why you're 11 gate. Or gateway 11.
Not that much.
Did you hear when I made fun of your gateway 11 earlier today, Todd?
Why no?
Nothing.
You're always hating, man. Come on.
Stalker on the way for DNS. As Kung Fu Panda is going to actually open up with the mothership core over here. So it might drop a very quick tech building that's actually going to be revealed. Well, I wonder if we're going to see some cheeky mind games. It could potentially still get cancelled. It's one of these, like, it's so easy to scout that maybe I will cancel it and get a Stargate instead. But then again, Twilight is just always solid. And you've said this a lot in your cast in the past, Todd, and I always agree with it. I feel if you play Twilight on like almost any map where Twilight is just like very acceptable, you open up Blink Stalkers and Robo, you play that if you feel confident that you're better than your opponent.
Yeah. That's why I always do it against you. Actually, the few times that I didn't, I lost.
I can't catch your break. Like, just keep on going. I'm giving you a compliment over here that I listened to your cast in the past. And
you beat me the other day in best of 5, so what does that say? Maybe I am not better. I guess we'll find out in the next Roddy show matches, Kappa. Yeah, Blink already starting here for Kung Fu Panda. It's going to be a few seconds earlier. And it's it always weirds me out so much when I see somebody like DNS right now dropping down a second gateway, like first. Obviously, you're going to go for the third one, but I don't know. As Protoss, you know how it is, right? Like, you're supposed to drop them both down at the same time. You don't make, you always make gateways in sets. And I guess he will add that on a little bit later.
Getting the Robo now as well. I guess we should elaborate a little bit on why, if you feel you're confident in PvP, like that Twilight with Blink Stalkers and the Robotics Facility is just the most common opening. Oh, okay, he did have enough energy. He waited a long time. I think it's always so silly when they do that. You know, just recall immediately. Why take this real damage? This is just an opening that doesn't have a super hard counter. I think
he has one, actually.
Yeah, the 1 gate fast expand Robo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is indeed the worst build to face. But even then, I think it's not the end of the world. You should be able to scout it relatively quickly, and then it's up to you to make a play with your Blink Stalkers. But that is the worst case scenario. Any other scenario, you're pretty okay with Blink Stalkers.
I think we should enumerate some of them, actually. Like Stargates. If you have Blink against Stargates, you're in a good position. If you have Blink against Blink, well, it's a mirror.
Yep.
If you're playing against DTs, then you're going to have Blink. Your opponent's not going to have Blink. You're going to have Observers to defend the DTs and be offensive. So it's basically good against pretty much everything except the 1 gate Nexus into a Robo, because then your opponent expands much earlier than you. But we saw somebody yesterday actually adjusting super well in that situation and going for they're only making 2 Stalkers with Blink and going for a Nexus very quickly. It was...
We didn't have a PvP yesterday.
That was before yesterday, I think, no?
Or sure. Maybe you did it in the MSI Cup?
Yeah, maybe. I saw a PvP like not too long ago, and this one guy, with just 2 Stalkers, he made 2 Blink Stalkers, and then went into a Nexus, and somehow wasn't particularly behind.
Oh.
And you can also cancel Blink, I think. If you see a Nexus very early and you want to go for your own, and make sure you're not too far behind, you can cancel Blink and get the Nexus. But in this case, both players, they open the same way, 1 base Blink, and now seeing that it's 1 base Blink against 1 base Blink, they're like, well, it's probably time to take an expansion. And go into Immortals. And in this case, DNS is actually already on 1.
It's 100% mirror so far. You know, if you are DNS and you look at these previous 2 games and you're just like, man, like, where is it going wrong for me? Like, I am in positions that things are okay. I think the most important thing is that he has to contest the map control a little bit that he gives to Kung Fu Panda. Like, PvP is 100 times easier when you have pylons all over the place, when you have a Zealot on patrol, you know, covering a certain area, because it's going to give you so much security. It's going to give you such a peaceful state of mind that will allow you to make the right plays because you're not stressed out all the time. You know, being in the dark is stressful, and it's very hard to do things right if you have no eyes on the map. So, you know, if I'm DNS, what I will really try to do better in this game is just try to, you know, contest the map control a little bit. You know, like, fight for it. If the armies are just as strong, you have the same upgrades, then don't be afraid to fight. Maybe in a situation where normally you don't want to fight, but don't give Kung Fu Panda the map control that he's had in game number 1 and game number 2, because he's just very good in this matchup, and he will capitalize on the freedom that you give him. Maybe he's American. I don't know.
He's pretty good. If it really feels like Kung Fu Panda, his best strength in PvP, I feel, is adjusting, maybe, which, I mean, the matchup pretty much comes down to it. And even in one base against one base situation, you know, the series against Naniwa, or even any of his PvPs, really, every single time he's able to read very well into what his opponent's doing with minimal information and adjusting very well, which is what it comes down to. At the end of the day, if anybody could play PvP with the entire map revealed, I feel like he'd never lose.
Pretty much. And I mean, that's
Except
why.
against Rain.
Yeah, that's late game Rain. No thanks. I mean, obviously, you know, some of these guys are phenomenal when it comes to spreading and their engagements. And we saw actually, you know, unfortunately for Nani, he didn't make it to WCS Premier League, but he showed us some phenomenal Colossus control as well in his games against Showtime. Like really good hold position, make sure your zealots don't run in front of your army, and then just poke, shoot, poke, shoot.
I think the best thing that he did was the Colossus control, really, like with the poke, because it's so hard to do. Like, I can't even start to emphasize. Like every time I do this, you know, I get caught in a time warp and then it's game over instantly. And he was like right in there, just poking forward, laser shooting and coming back.
It's funny because PvP is a matchup where I often feel like the more fancy you get, the harder it's going to backfire. It's like, oh, you think you're good? You think you've got talent?
Yeah.
Get Protoss, you know. Robobay is finishing up for DNS now as well. He's going to start his first Colossus. Thermalance a little bit later. Kung Fu Panda taking a small lead over here by going up to 3 bases before DNS does.
He actually killed a probe on the 3rd base just now, so slowing it down quite a bit.
It's small things like that again, but it's Kung Fu Panda having the map control, giving him, you know, the security or the peaceful state of mind to go up to 3 base a little bit quicker and then position his stalkers over here. And then the DNS is like, oh, my opponent is expanding. I'm going to expand too. And then it gets sniped. And now suddenly you're looking at a Nexus that's 70% done or 65. And this one is just starting. It's small things like that. But when you play the exact same build order in a mirror matchup, then obviously it's hard to make the difference. So small plays will make the difference. And again, Kung Fu Panda is already making a few small correct plays. Starting +2 immediately as soon as he's ready. DNS a few seconds later.
Do you think 4GG is watching this, polling for DNS to win?
Why?
Because Kung Fu Panda, man.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe he likes the French more as well. But I mean, I think if 4GG can get a shot at revenge on Kung Fu Panda, I don't think he would turn it down, because I'm sure that 4GG will also, you know, understand the fact that he played a pretty underwhelming series in Canada and that he's supposed to do a lot better, and he could do a lot better. This pylon is still alive. Okay, Kung Fu Panda is going to send a zealot over here to take care of it. Look at these Immortals. Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
I'm not sure it sounds like boom, boom.
It does. It's like boom, boom. You see it. You see the arms moving. Love Immortals, man.
I really like that Kung Fu Panda, when he sets up a 3rd base, by the way, he drops down the 2nd robo very quickly. It's really good to do this, I think, no matter what. Even though, you know, he's going to delay his Templar Archive addition, which in this case, look at his DNS, Templar Archives instead of 2nd robo. So I feel like unless you're planning an attack, this is not nearly as good. Like, you know, if he wants to go for a few Archons and then attack before Kung Fu Panda has Archons himself, there is no point in doing this. And in this case, look at this. Templar Archives already goes down for...
what do you think about something like a Storm Drop against double Robo?
I feel like it's too late now to get it. Okay. You have to open with the Storm Drop and do a lot of damage and be ahead, because otherwise, in an even game, it's really not that good. Unless you're Rain. Rain breaks every roll.
He did it against me. Rain.
You should be honored.
I went double Robo, and then I lost all my workers. And I was like, well, let's make an attack.
Much like some people were honored to receive Hydra Rage. You should have been honored to get Storm Drawed by Rain.
I was. I still think about it every night. See my probes dying. It's like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's like, oh no, it's my economy. Doesn't matter. It's Rain. 141 supply for DNS. This is, of course, a phase in the game PvP where things get a little passive. It's just very hard to truly commit to something. If you can get these stalkers over here, that's nice. DNS finally trying to make a small play, but poor
can't
DNS.
Can't catch a break.
No, can't indeed catch a break. Did get one probe there, but needless to say, was hoping for a little more. So now again, from this point on, you know, like recently, I saw a game where a player made a lot of Blink Stalkers in the face in the game where I don't think it made any sense anymore on Coda, because I was like, man, you're supposed to make Immortals and Colossus. But it was so annoying because we both had Blink, but he just made more Stalkers. And I was like, this sucks, you know, like in a big fight, you're never going to do well. But he just kept taking away all map control from me, kept trying to Blink into the main base as well. And even when Stalkers are not very good, at this moment. If 10 Stalkers blink into your main, you got to respect it. And if then the main army hits over here, or 4 Stalkers, it can be really frustrating. And I felt that DNS, despite the fact that he opened up with Blink, he never really tried to do anything with it. He gave map control up very early on. Kung Fu Panda was able to expand a little bit quicker.
But nothing has been going his way. Maybe he kind of lost confidence and wanted to play just a lot more passive.
Of course, yeah, but like this is the same story as game number 1, game number 2. We're looking at his vision, sees nothing.
By the way, this might be a very good opportunity here to go for Tempest, maybe. If the game's really stale.
I feel like this is some serious wishful thinking by us. But no, I don't think if you're DNS right now, you have the confidence to go into Tempest. You've been too blind.
What do you mean? You make 15 cannons per base, and then you drop 3 Stargates.
A little bit of a skirmish over here as a couple Zealots and Stalkers are fighting just Zealots. Zealots do have charge on both sides.
And again, Kung Fu Panda doing something better than DNS and getting the Dark Shrine much earlier.
Look at this, and now he's going to get a few more Zealots. He's actually going to win this fight. This is very frustrating. Because normally you just wipe in the Zealots, deal with these Stalkers. Man, I love this again by Kung Fu Panda. He has so many cool little moves. This is so smart, because normally these Stalkers right now, they're not supposed to be that scary anymore. And now he's already killed like 10, 12 Zealots. He's getting a very cost-effective fight. Because Zealots plus Stalkers are obviously way better than just Zealots. And now, like, I think Kung Fu Panda, or excuse me, DNS, needs to send some real units towards this base. Otherwise, he's in grave danger of losing some probes, maybe a robo.
Are you saying Zealots and Stalkers aren't real, Roddy?
Why? What did I say?
You said he's going to send some real units.
No, not these trashy units of Protoss Tier 1 that do no damage.
Yeah, he sent a Colossus, so he listened. Oh, actually 2.
Now that's a unit, Todd.
DT drop going to be happening in the main, but these cannons are walled off so well in the main here for DNS.
But if you drop 2 Dark Templars on top of it and there is no additional support, they will still
but DNS can warp in first if that's about to happen.
Well, I mean,
actually he can't, he's maxed out.
Just look at Kung Fu Panda, man. We have to give credit where credit is due. He's truly doing whatever he can to make the difference in a matchup that was once more super dead even. There we do have indeed that warp in. Now 1 Zealot is stuck, by the way.
Roddy Zealot.
2 supply. Useless forever. Maybe it's the gatekeeper to cannons. But during all this, look at Kung Fu Panda. He's just chipping away at stuff, being annoying.
Oh, DNS attacking. Look at this. He's losing patience. He's got more army supply once again.
He's going to lose everything in his natural thought. He has no detection over here. And there is a Dark Templar in the mix. He's going to come back. He knows it.
Recall, maybe? Chooses to walk back
I think he's afraid if he recalls, he's going to end up losing his 4th base. And then he will feel he's dead again.
I don't understand when he's just sitting back and waiting.
Boom, boom. Templar Archives.
Told you, man. 15 cannon per base, 3 Stargates, Tempest.
Look at this.
Remember when I played Kung Fu Panda for the Challenger qualifier?
On Overgrowth?
Yeah, that Tempest game.
I will never forget that game. That was the silliest PvP I've ever seen in my life. Didn't he dance his units?
Yeah, in the first game, yeah, but not in that last one. Yeah, he had a few very harsh words before leaving.
Good old Letot. And his old WCS memories. Stargate is going down for Kung Fu, Todd, so I think he kind of feels like, well, you know, 4 bases, I've got money in the bank, I've got all the upgrades a man could desire.
Stargate going down.
Yep. So
I'm so happy.
He thinks it's time, and I think it's fine as well. Dark Templar is doing serious. Just look at the workers killed in this game. 2 against 21. Oh man, I feel a little bit for DNS because it's really frustrating when you play against a Protoss player that just seems to do everything a little bit better than you do. It's just like, man, like, why do I play these games? You know, just everything is going wrong. Normally, I at least get a good engagement here, or I have something going my way there. But it just feels that Kung Fu Panda has had an answer to everything that DNS has tried to do, and he's always a step ahead.
He's just better, generally speaking. You know, more solid.
Yep.
That War Prism.
Okay, now actually I feel that Kung Fu Panda's army is a little bit... I mean, if I'm DNS right now, I run up this ramp. But Kung Fu, you need to start...
He still has no War Prism to reinforce, though. It's going to be Kung Fu Panda reinforcing right into this fight. There's going to be the Photon Overcharge to work with. And the Time Warp
as well.
DNS starting to really lose patience there. He's still taking damage in his natural. DNS warping in units there. No defensive Dark Shrine still. This was the biggest mistake of all. You need that defensive Dark Shrine on 4 bases, no matter what.
Oh, man. Kung Fu is just picking him apart. 31 probes have gone down now. Warping in Zealots will not do anything for you.
DNS has had it, man.
He kind of has to go, right? It's 143 army supply. This is one of those moments again, Todd. The army supply advantage is mostly in Archons now. Zealot count is even. He's going to go all the way back.
I'm really surprised that Kung Fu, by the way, is not getting a lot of cannons. Because like he's going to have less army supply. I think he knows it. He has a lot of minerals. So he definitely could afford to get a bunch of cannons.
Yeah. He has a couple here and there. I think he's saving up for...
yeah, but okay.
I think
15 cannons on the 4th base here is necessary, buddy.
I think he just wants to warp in Zealots with his minerals, and then he's going to get ready for his Tempest.
How many gates is he on? 14 to the 10 of DNS.
Very respectable numbers. 10, not too many for DNS.
Oh, that natural for DNS is dying. I think enough is enough, man.
Yeah. DNS has so much gas, but he lost his Templar Archives. Can he rebuild it? No. Man, he needs to rebuild his Templar Archives slot because he's sitting on 2,500 gas.
Dark Shrine goes down for DNS. Look at the production tab.
That's a really...
It's time.
That's a sad production tab. When you just see one Dark Shrine, that's often when you know you're in trouble. It's going to try to get a good engagement here, but if you fight in this area, that what happens is that the Colossus of DNS, they will start shooting at the pylon.
Yeah.
At the cannon, the pylon, the Nexus.
But you know what you should do as DNS here? You engage and then you pull back a little bit. And you re-engage. And that's when, if your opponent chases you a little bit, he's going to be the one in a bad position.
Okay, well, he's going to pretty much have to go for it, because now he's going to start losing production facilities in the main base. DNS, the longer you wait, the worse this is going to get for you, buddy. And
that Prism by Kung Fu. So sick.
Yeah, I know.
He made Prism speed super fast, by the way, in that game. Like, he had it for a very long time. Pretty much right when he made it, I think.
Gotta respect the Prism. He's just been playing extremely good. 27 minutes in, and once again, we may be looking at a scenario where, like, yeah, DNS may kind of win the fight. I'm not even convinced about that this time, but he may do it. But after that, we're looking at 6,200 minerals,
it's
4,700 gas.
9 Colossi to 9. 4 Immortals to 4, but 12 Archons to 6 in DNS's favor. But we've seen in 90 UFC Showtime the Archons, they are not the most important unit, but generally speaking, he's got way more. 157 army to 133. But as we saw in the 2 previous games, having a bigger army is not everything. It's how you use it, Roddy.
Feedback. The Ray Allen High Templar? But no.
Yeah, being able to reinforce so much is going to be such a nice advantage for Kung Fu Panda if he's able to pull back.
I think he really wants to try.
He's very patient with the photon overcharge, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one photon overcharge right now doesn't really do much for you anyway. I think he rather has double time warp. I think that's why I thought. I wouldn't mind a photon, but you definitely want one time warp.
DNS has got some patience in him, let me tell you.
I mean, so is Kung Fu. He just like has this massive army that's chipping away at his Nexus. And he's
but like he's the right choice for Kung Fu.
Of course. Because I mean,
he's going to try to get a time warp. That one Templar coming in. One was used before. DNS pulling back here, trying to pull out Kung Fu Panda out of position.
He's not falling
for it,
Not going to
happen.
He's not falling for it. Zealous, I don't know where that Zealous was coming from. There are 2 more robots going down for Kung Fu as well. His production, like, he's so rich though, it's going to be ridiculous. He has 2 Stargates that he can use to build Tempest or even Carriers if he would decide that, but probably Tempest. And then he has 3 robots as well.
You know what I like to do in this situation? Get like 10 Stargates. Yeah. And then even if you lose the fight, you just start 10 Void Rays.
Wow,
well, in this case, actually, you might lose if you did that, because DNS would get a lot of Archons behind this. Like, DNS actually has a bank behind this.
Yeah, this is a little bit different than indeed the previous games. And I must say, I'm surprised by that, because on a certain point, I truly thought that it was going to be all
Mothership!
Over. Where? Where's the Mothership thought?
It doesn't work when I click on it, but it's morphing it below his army.
Oh, the big one. Okay. I thought you were just shouting for a Mothership Core that was about to die.
No,
I was like, why doesn't he call it...
4 months.
Why doesn't
it's
he
not
call
the Roddy Mothership Core.
Why doesn't he call it the Roddy Mothership Core if it's dying? Something's different here.
Because it's living.
Man, Kung Fu Panda, he's going up to 5 robotics facilities, Todd. Do you know how much supply he can warp in at once? It's insane. Big fight actually happening right now. Oh my god.
I'm surprised that he's going for the fight, even though he's getting a mothership.
Yeah, but DNS, his Colossus was so clumped up, he uses rapid warping over there. And ridiculous amount of Zealots being wiped in, but we all know that Zealot's not the unit that you want. Like, I just want to do the math real quick about how much supply Kung Fu Panda can warp in at once. Gets a couple Colossus there before this fight even starts, and I'm sorry, man, I didn't think there's just no way that DNS is ever going to be able to win this. Even though a couple of the Archons have melted for Kung Fu Panda, but he can start potentially 5 Colossus, 2 Tempest, and he can warp in 20 Zealots. Oh my god. How much supply is the Tempest again, Todd? 4, right?
Yeah.
So he could potentially warp in like 38 and then 10. He could warp in 58 supply at once.
Oh, that Mothership.
That's so sick. Or you can make a mothership so it's 60. That's so sick. That's the biggest production
It's
I've ever
actually
seen for a Protoss.
He's getting 4 immortals
No,
at
wait.
once here.
It's even more than that.
I'm really surprised that DNS is getting immortals behind this. I guess he had no choice. He lost his robo base, remaking it now.
He could warp in 80 supply, Todd, at once. Isn't that amazing?
It is. It's
Isn't-
almost,
What a race.
yeah.
What a race.
It's almost better than Zerg.
Yep.
But still not quite yet.
You guys think Larva is good? 80 supply at once. 5 Colossus, 2 Tempest, a Mothership, if it dies, or Mothership Core. And then, 20 Zealots. That's amazing. Can't believe how much production Kung Fu Panda has. And he has money for it as well. He's getting the cannons that you asked for before, Todd.
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda is working on making
Hey.
his perfect
Oh
composition.
my god, DNS doesn't even have an observer with his army.
Oh, he sent them back to defend against
Yeah.
that one DT. Or one of them, actually. Just
Yeah,
one.
he only has one observer.
9 Colossi for Kung Fu Panda, 7 for DNS, 8 Immortals for DNS though, to just 4 for Kung Fu, but I don't think it matters though. 136 army to 141. DNS struggling to remax there. He's actually expanding on the left-hand side, pretty ambitious.
Yep. Hey,
Oh, he's killing some of his own probes. He
Yeah.
should get rid of his own zealots actually.
that's
Sacrifice them somewhere.
yeah, those were kind of panic zealots.
Ah,
man.
big warping, or small warping, I guess, on the right-hand side there. 3 zealots, 1 DT.
That's
There's
right.
actually just 2 cannons.
Could kill the Templar Archives again, which would be nice. Expensive building. Gonna go for the cannons instead for now. Nexus! Oh! Oh! Todd! Cheeky guy.
Classic Kung Fu Panda.
What a cheeky guy. He's so rich. It's so fat. Oh, 29 workers for DNS.
He
DNS.
can't actually photon of a charge anymore because he's made a proper mothership.
Yeah. The downside. What's
He's
the-
using that as a wall off. Look at this. Those colossi, they are shielded behind it.
Man, if you're DNS right now, you're just hating this. Like, you're never going to give up because it's WCS. There's so much money on the line. A couple of his Colossus take some serious damage.
God, those DTs kill so much in the third base of DNS.
They killed everything.
21.
17 kills.
Yeah,
over
but
here.
no, look, imagine the army he's going to get now. 180 army?
Yeah, but how do you get?
Oh
a,
my God.
how do you get a proper fight?
2 more targets.
Yeah,
man.
I know. And 4 more gateways, so he's going to improve himself to a potential of 96 army supply being built at the same time. Kung Fu Panda. I think that's the most I've ever seen of a Protoss. 5 Robo,
I'm not
4
sure why-
Stargate, and 24
Yeah.
gateways.
I'm really surprised that DNS not trying to go around. I guess he wants to fight the army no matter what at some points.
I mean, this
Both
army.
players have got some serious patience.
Yeah,
I have
this
to say.
army of Kung Fu Panda is actually not that strong, man. Like, what does he has over here? It's like 4 or 5 Colossus, 2 Immortals, a few
Yeah.
Archons. This army would get shreked by this army. It's more just that.
Without these 2 nexus covering them. Reveal yourself.
Like this, Kung Fu Panda is playing with fire a little bit. Like I know he has a ridiculous amount of
If
production.
this army
behind
gets
it.
crushed like really hard,
Yeah.
then the counter attack this time, DNS having a bank, he's going to be able to get some reinforcements, especially in terms of mid shield.
He needs some, he
The
needs-
pre-setup is good by Kung Fu Panda, but he's moving around a lot. Like he could end up taking a really bad fight there.
I think this army is weak of Kung Fu. It's definitely not as strong as it could be.
He's got a bunch of zealots, actually. 10 in total. That's awkward.
Artosis!
There come these tasteless pylons, man.
Well, PvP in all its glory, Todd. We asked for a long game. You want +1 air weapons.
I
being
wanted to see
researched now.
Tempest, though.
And he just refuses it. He has 4 Stargates and he's getting +1 and he has Fleet Beacon and still no Tempest to make good old Todd a little happy. DNS is going to try to go for it. How many observers does he
No,
have?
he's not.
Oh, he has 7 observers. Jesus. He wants to make sure he doesn't lose detection this time.
That's way too much.
Man, this poor guy, he can't do any right. Either he has too little observers or he has way
Yeah.
too many.
He has 7 of them, but he's actually not defending that third base there right now. That DT is going to slice a Robo eventually.
Killed indeed one of the robots.
176 army supply to 144. DNS can't actually reinforce like here. He's forgetting to get a pylon near this. Air weapons level 1 gonna complete here for Kung Fu.
One more Stargate. Just because.
Time warp. Going down from both.
Yeah. It's on top of each other. Makes a beautiful time warp. All right, DNS might be. The thing is, even
He
if
has one more Colossus, 10-9.
yeah, no, his army is way better here. Like this army is way better. The Mothership Core is
He has a Templar Archive, but he's swapping in DTs to make Archons.
Yeah, I really wish that he would just get one High Templar and feedback this Mothership and then just fight, attack move, let the Archons kill it. You have a lot of observers. Oh, the Time Warp's gonna go down again.
Finally, here we go. DNS getting engaged into here by Kung Fu Panda, who's going to reinforce with a lot of Zealots from the right-hand side. Everything's clumped up from DNS. He's losing everything so fast. Supplies plummeting. Kung Fu Panda is going to pull a little bit ahead in army for a second, but DNS right back in there with his own reinforcements. When Immortal at the front wasn't doing anything, he's going to fall very rapidly. Both players still trading blow for blow. 80 army supply to 56,
wow.
But Kung Fu Panda is losing some of his important Colossi. It comes down to a last few lasers here from both players, but the bank, Roddy, the bank is still massive for Kung Fu Panda. Is going to reinforce. He tries to dance and fails because he had caps lock on, and he's going to dance in the end as DNS leaves the game.
Try to dance. No, DNS actually being a really good sport about it. I feel a little bit bad now for DNS. Put up a good fight, but Kung Fu Panda, man, he just showed us that his PvP, his understanding of the matchup and all the moves and everything that comes along with it, he's just damn good in it, man. He's really, really damn good in it.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive here of late game PvP. I did say that DNS, he liked the late game, but and he's good at it, but I guess just against me.
And I
didn't look super good. He just kind of sat back, took damage everywhere, and like in the end never really could engage.
Yeah. I did say as well that already in the run of 32 of the previous season, I was very impressed with Kung Fu Panda's late game PvP against Elfie and Haas, and today he really put on a clinic, man. And of course, let's not forget that he did defeat Nani as well in season 2. But those games, they were a little crazy, they were a little out there, they were explosive, there was like some weird builds, but this is just super solid late game
This poor
PvP.
Nani, man. He gets Kung Fu in Challenger, then he gets Showtime. What's next season? Lilbo?
The return of Hazuops.
I don't know. Soccer.
Yeah, Zoka. We saw
as
Zoka
well.
yesterday. He played a little bit of Legacy. He was on a team with Naruto against Starga and Hero Marine. Either way, congratulations to Kung Fu Panda. That's, of course, the most important thing here. He will advance to Premier League once more. Had a good run in Season 2. Perhaps can go even further in Season 3, because what we just saw, that was just very, very good.
And Germany with 4 players in Premier League.
Yep, Deutschland.
Representing, man.
Deutschland had stand.
Doing really, really well for sure there. And all of them too. It's not like, one of them locked out on a matchup and like did really well and is not necessarily going to do well in Premier League. They all have chances to go pretty far. So
yeah, and they've dominated most of their matches as well. Showtime had a very close one, but TLO was pretty decisive. Kung Fu over here, very decisive. Hero Marine was a little shaky against Red, but it was still a very cool series.
Red's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Either way, we're going to head over to a very small commercial break, and after that, we'll be back with the next series that is going to be Hearthstone versus Nerd Show. I'm really excited for it. Stay tuned. You're watching WCS Challenger Day 3. I think it's you now.